Let's jump right into the action as we break down a move by Caris LeVert and truly understand the details that go into it so we can pull off the exact ingredients in our games. Now, I'm gonna ignore the stuff that Caris does in the beginning. We can allow ourselves to be free. We just simply play basketball. We're gonna jump right into the aspect of it that we can best train for. Bottom line is, we don't need to replicate exact sequences all the way through. We want to be able to look at the details and study what's happening. And so we're going to start right where Caris goes into his bound. Now, we've discussed the bound before. That's simply the act of pulling myself off of my outside foot and allowing that foot to pull me to the outside or the dribbling side. And so as Caris does his bound, he lands in his drop. Now, the drop is the default footwork that you'll land into when you perform a bound. And so as he lands in his drop, we want to start studying his space and his technique. Now, one common misconception that people have when they're looking at high-level players and they start to see the feet roll to the inside, we start to get this fear that there's negative pressure on this knee. But one thing I want you to notice, when players do this, they're not throwing their knee to their inside. The reason why they're even able to take the foot to the side is because they're properly loading weight over their outside leg. And so as you load weight over this foot, that foot just naturally turns over. If you try to keep this foot attached to the ground, notice it wants to pull myself back towards the middle, and the center of gravity would be right here. We want to help ourselves load weight over this leg. And that's what Caris does in that instance. And so you're going to let yourself load weight over that leg, and then he gets into his crossover as his option. Now, this is the part that I want you to truly look at, because our ability to save space, keep space, step short are going to pay dividends into our game, and we want to start learning how to do that. Because a lot of times when players will do a cross, they'll step really far ahead with those next two steps. But the advantage of stepping short is it allows me to get some added acceleration. And in a day and age where this line is feared, it always allows us to cover less space. So if I want to come back, I'm here. And so we want to be able to look at the domino effect of space in that way. The challenging aspect of this is when Caris crosses, he digs with his outside foot, and as he's taking his next inside step, he digs again. The ability to keep both those small steps on that mat is powerful. And that's why we're using this grip mat, because if I can hold myself accountable to that small space, I'm matching the space and the details of players at the highest level. So we get into our cross out of that bound, we dig with that outside foot, we dig again with the inside foot, everything stays underneath our hips, we let the ball flow. Now I'm able to get my dribble step, and what Caris does right out of that is he gets into his power stop, and of course he has contact as he gets to the finish. The part that we're focusing on the most is that detail right there. So what can we take away from that? Your discipline and your ability to understand how to load weight over your outside foot, how to cover small spaces with digs, and gain those bursts without giving up too much space in the beginning. One thing I always say is that short is a skill. Length is athletic. We can't all have the athleticism, but we can all work on being able to take those smaller, short dig steps, understanding how to save our space so we have more options with this great game. Those are the details within the moments so you can pull off this exact same play in your game.